Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Rabbi Shimon. So said Rabbi Yochanan in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, in the name of Rabbi Shimon, Dvar Torah. The following is the biblical obligation, or the biblical halacha. Ha'av Yorish as beno, a father inherits. Yorish, same as Nochel, is to inherit, and Morish is like Manchil, to bequeath, to give over. So Ha'av Yorish as beno, a father inherits his son. The Isha Yoreshes as bena. So Rabbi Yochanan is of the opinion that both a father and a mother are going to inherit their child, son or daughter, it doesn't matter. So if the child dies before the parent, both father and mother are going to inherit him. Okay. Shenamar, how do I know this? It says matos. That verse that we keep quoting about a daughter that inherits the nachla from matos b'nei Yisrael. So the word matos is plural, and it's coming to compare, and it includes both of the tribe of the father and the tribe of the mother. Makish mate ha'em lamate ha'av. We're comparing the tribe of the mother to the tribe of the father. Ma mate ha'av av yoreshus beno. Just like the tribe of the father can inherit his son. Av mate ha'em isha yoreshus beno. So we use this verse it includes both the father and the mother, to teach you that they have a similar law. What's that? That just like the father could inherit the son, so too the mother could inherit the son or daughter. The problem is our Mishnah. It doesn't sound like that. Eisvei, next page, Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Yehuda, then Shimon, it says Ha'isha as bina, the Ha'isha as baila, the Ache Ha'em has a woman to her son, a woman to her husband, meaning a mother to her son, and a wife to her husband, the Ache Ha'em, and the brothers of the sister. All these people are manchilin. They can give over their inheritance. They bequeath their inheritance. They're giving over, but v'lo nochlin. They themselves don't inherit. And what's one of those cases? Ha'isha as bina, a mother to her son. She can pass over if she dies. She can give over the inheritance to her son, but she cannot inherit from her son. So you just told me that this word matos taught us that a mother could inherit her son. But we're showing now from the Mishnah that a mother cannot inherit her son. So that's a difficulty. So Amar Le, so he said back to him, he said, listen, Mishnah Seinu, Eini Odeh Mishana. I don't know who taught our Mishnah. You know, I have this halacha, and you're bringing me a Mishnah. I don't know who taught it. And we're going to see in a little bit what the difficulty is. But the Mishnah is going to have an internal difficulty, and therefore he felt very strongly that his opinion is correct, because that law of the Mishnah must not be correct. Okay, so that was his response. The Mishnah, I don't know who it's like. We'll see why he was unsure in a second. So the Gemara interjects, what do you mean? Maybe the Mishnah is like the opinion of Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzev, who we had earlier. Now it's just going to repeat what he said from earlier. Delo darish matos. This whole halacha that a mother inherits her son is based off this verse that we're expounding, matos. Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzev didn't expound that. So if you're bringing the verse matos and telling me that that's the source that a mother inherits her son, so I'll tell you very simply, our Mishnah that doesn't agree with that is the opinion of Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzev, who doesn't expound the word matos. So says the Gemara, no, don't do that. Lo metukum astisnik Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzev. Why? The Katani ubnei achos. Our Mishnah talks about the children of the sister. So if we're working with Yaakov Avinu's children, so if we're working with Yaakov Avinu's children, so then Dina's children, Yaakov's daughter, Dina's children can inherit. There's their mother's brothers. So the Dina can inherit Reuben, Shimon, Levi. And what do we teach? V'tana b'nei achos v'lo benos achos. We said specifically it's only the boys, only the sons can inherit their mother's brother, v'lo benos achos, but not the daughters. And we said, a good review. Via Rina Lamai, son, we asked, what are you trying to tell me? Obviously, the sons and the daughters both could inherit if Dina has sons and Dina dies, and then Dina's brother dies, Reuven. Of course, the sons inherit Reuven. Similarly, if Dina only had daughters and Dina died, and then Dina's brother died, the daughters can also inherit their uncle. And so, what did we say? We said, for what was the teaching? What was it teaching us? It was telling us that you're right. Each, whether you're the son of Dina or the daughter of Dina, you can still inherit the uncle. However, if Dina died and left over a son and a daughter, and then her brother died, the son will take precedence over the daughter. So now, this is all to tell us why the Mishnah cannot be Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav. And if you're going to tell me, and if you'll think that the Mishnah is Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav, but he had the following ruling. He said when it came to inheriting a mother's possessions, a son does not take precedence. Rather, because he does not interpret this verse, he understands it to mean that a son and a daughter will split the estate equally. And our Mishnah, we just explained, doesn't go like that. If Dina left over a son and a daughter, the son takes precedence over the daughter. So, therefore, our Mishnah cannot go like Rabbi Zechariah ben Akatzav. So, now we're back to the drawing board. Who does our Mishnah go like? So for this following question, this is why earlier he didn't know, Rabbi Yehuda didn't know, he felt our Mishnah was not understandable. Why? V'tana di dahan mimanav shach. Our Mishnah, mimanav shach. Mimanav shach means like either way you slice it. Choose. You want to learn this pasuk matos to teach you something, or you don't want to learn it to teach you something. But either way, it's going to come out difficult. Why? I darish matos. If you're going to expound this word matos, so then I shenami tiresh has been no. So then a mother should inherit her son, just like the other opinion interpreted it. And I lo darish matos, and if you do not want to interpret and expound matos, so then ben the kodem labas benichse ha'em minole. And how do you know, if you don't interpret it, that a son takes precedence over a daughter when it comes to inheriting his mother? That you need to expound the word matos. So choose. Either you don't expand matos, but then a woman could inherit from her son, or you do expound matos, but then you have to change your halacha or you do expand matos, and therefore a woman could inherit her son, or you don't expand matos, and then a son will, how do you know that a son will precede his sister when it comes to inheriting their mother? So either way you slice it, mimanav shach, either way you slice it, you come out with a difficulty. Says the Gemara, no. La'olam darish matos. Even our Mishnah agrees that we're going to expound matos. So if that's true, so we asked, why does our Mishnah not agree that a mother could inherit her son? It only says that a mother can give over her inheritance to her son, but she cannot receive an inheritance from her son. So if you learn this word matos, why don't you just agree with the other opinion? Says the Gemara, there's a different pasuk. The shiny hacha, the amar kra. The pasuk specifically says about a daughter, v'chol bas yoreshes nachala. A daughter is yoreshes nachala. She inherits the inheritance. Yoreshes ve'ena moreshes. She inherits, but she does not give over. Does not bequeath. So that means that both opinions, at the end of the day, they interpret the word matos. The first opinion said it's to compare, just like a son inherits it, a father inherits a son, so to a mother inherits her son. our Mishnah also agrees to Matos for a different teaching, for the teaching that a son will precede his sister when it comes to inheriting from his mother. But we're not going to interpret it. That's going to have all the same halachas because of this other pasuk. Now, when it comes to a daughter is yoreshes, the eno moreshes. The same mem, by the way, as nochel umanchil, yoresh and morish. Right? So
Matos again.
It means tribes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
it's plural.
But it's confusing that it's the tribes.
Right. So the point is that it includes multiple tribes in one. So we use that to compare basically either the father to the mother.
Okay.
So
from different tribes.
Different tribes, yeah. So at the end of the day, but the pasuk says that a daughter only can inherit, and she cannot give over. We say, by the way, Torah Tziva Lana Moshe, Morasha, Kilas Yaakov. It's the same thing. It's an inheritance. The Torah is an inheritance that was passed down for us. Same word as this. Yeah. Also a summer camp that people go to. Okay. So fine. So says the Mishnah, the order of events. You want to know the order of events? Here's the order of events. Seder Nachalos Kachu. The order of the Nachala goes as follows. Yeah. The Seder of Nachalos goes like this. Kachu. Ish kiyamus uben einlo. So, since in the Mishnah quotes pasuk, but yeah, the pasuk says ish. Usually Gemara quotes the pasuk to understand the Mishnah, but ish kiyamus uben einlo v'ha'avartem es nachalaso lebito. It says that if a person dies and he doesn't have a son, then it gets passed over to his daughter's inheritance. But if he had a son, the son would come first. Ben kodem labas. At the end of the day, it's ben kodem labas. So then we say, okay, that's the first thing. A son comes before the daughter. Now, kol yotze yerecho literally means anybody who comes from the thigh, but it means as a way of saying children. Kol yotze yerecho shel ben. Any offspring of the son are going to precede the daughter. So a father dies and leaves over a son and a daughter. Now, let's say the son died also before the father died. So the son died, then the father died. So the son has children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren. Even your great-great-great-great-great-grandson of the son will take precedence over the daughter. Yeah. I assume the Gemara is going to go explain why, but yeah, Gemara is going to explain why. Okay, so that's the first. So that's the second step. First is the son comes first, and then all the offsprings of the son come before his sister, come before the daughter. Bas, a daughter, is kodemes la'achin. So if someone dies, and now their brothers want the inheritance, and he left over a daughter, the daughter comes before any of the father's brothers. Similarly, Yotze Yerecha Shalbas, Kodmin le'achin. Any offspring of the daughter will come before the brother of the deceased. So if Reuven died and his brother Shimon wants the inheritance, and Reuven had a daughter, I don't know, let's call her Leah, who's not alive anymore. But Leah has a great-great-great-great-grandchild. That child will come before, people live for a long time, so that child will come before Reuven's brother. Okay, so that's the second one. So now, yeah. Achin kodmin la'ache ha'av. So now, someone dies and he leaves over a brother, but he also, the father's not around anymore, but the father has brothers. So let's say Reuven has a bunch of brothers, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda. So Reuven dies. Bad example, I guess. Reuven has a bunch of sons. So and one of those sons dies. One of Reuven's sons die. And now the fight breaks out between the uncle Shimon and the brother of the deceased. So that we say the brothers of the deceased come before the uncles. Similarly, Yotze Yerecho Shel Achin Kodmin La'achei Ha'av. The offspring of the brothers come before the Achei Ha'av. So if so let's say one of Reuven's sons dies, and the brother Shimon is not alive anymore, but the nephews and the grandnephews, they're alive. So now the nephew of the deceased is fighting with the uncle of the deceased. Who will get the inheritance? So we say the nephews, meaning anybody who's going to step into the place of the brother, will precede the uncle. Yeah. Yeah. Good to keep a family tree, right? So, or write a goodwill. So, oh, and Yotzi Reichan Shel Achin Kodem La'achei. Okay. Zeh HaKlal, this is the rule. Kol HaKodem Benachala, anybody who precedes to somebody else in inheritance, Yotze Yerecho Kodmin, his offspring precede that same person. So whenever you come before somebody in an inheritance, your offspring will be, so to speak, in your place, and they'll also come before that same person. And then the Mishnah ends off, V'ha'av Kodem L'chol Yotze Yerecho. The father precedes any of the offspring. So, so let's say someone dies and their father is still alive. Their father is still alive, or the offspring, let's say, of the brother. Right. So in general, the father comes before the brothers. Right. So someone dies. So Reuben dies, and now Yaakov and Shimon both want it. Yaakov, Reuben's father, wants it, and Shimon, Reuben's brother, wants it. So halacha is Yaakov comes before Shimon. Now let's say Shimon's not around anymore, but Shimon's kids are around. So the father is still going to come before them. Isn't that obvious? Right. I guess the father will come before any offspring. However, like the brother's offspring, but a son's offspring will always come first. Maybe the Gemara was asked about why the Mishnah mentions this statement. It seems a little bit unnecessary. Okay. Either way, the father comes before, just like the father comes before, the brother of the deceased, he'll also come before the offspring of the deceased. Okay. So I just think that's obvious, right? If the father comes before the brother, then for sure he should come before the nephew.
Right.
Before that, yeah. Okay. Maybe the Gemara will talk about it. So Tana Rabbanan, says the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan, we learned in a brisa, ben ainly. So Ben ainly. So let's say there's right. If there's a son, the son will come first. Right. It's paraphrasing the pasuk. And when someone dies with ben ain lo, right, he has no son, then it goes to the daughter. But if he had a son, so then it would go to the son. Okay, that's very good. So a son I know. What about Ella Ben? Ella Ben, who's the Ben of Abbas. A son who is the son of the daughter. So a grandson. Oh, Bas Ben, or a granddaughter, the daughter of a son. So the son of a son, or the daughter of a son. Oh, Ben Bas, or the son of a daughter. So you have Yaakov had a son Reuven, so either Reuven's son or Reuven's daughter. Oh, Ben Bas, which would be Dina's son. Ben Bas. Ben Bas haben minayin. 1 second. Um, read it, right?
Man should die if has no son. He should be. From this we know only that a son precedes
Yeah.
his daughter.
So once again, either ben haben or a bas haben, or ben bas haben. So either a son of a son, a daughter of a son, or a son's daughter's son. So a son's daughter's son. So that's the great grandson. So if the son's not alive, how do you know that the grandchildren or the great grandchildren basically are going to take precedence for that? Because it says Talmud Lomar, the verse says Ein lo. The Gemara interprets it to mean ayin alav. You should look into him. Meaning, if there's no sons, you should look into it. Ayin, to be ma'ayin is to examine further. You should examine further and see, is there anybody else who's alive? So whoever is alive in their lineage, they should get the inheritance.
This is where you need a whiteboard.
Yeah, you need a whiteboard, right? The Rashbam points out that what is interpretation? He says here that the yud in the word ein was unnecessary. The Rashbam says the yud was extra, so it just could have written aleph, nun, and a nun sofit without the yud. Just like it says by a different verse, me'ein bilam, just where the Torah writes ein without a yud. Since it put the yud there, we interpret it to be ayin alav. You look after the dead person, meaning examine them and see if he has a daughter, if he has a son, and that's how you know that that what do you call that? It's going to pass on to the grandchildren and to the great grandchildren. Okay, so now a daughter, the same thing. Bas ainly. We know already if there's no son, it's going to go to the daughter. But what about a bas, the daughter of a daughter? So elabas, basabas, v'chein habas, ubas, ubas ben habas. It's basically going to go to the granddaughter or the great granddaughter. So either it's going to go basabas, so it's going to be the daughter's daughter, or ben habas, or a daughter's son. Bas ben habas. So Abbas ben Abbas is the daughter's son's daughter. So someone had a daughter, the daughter had a son, and then they had a daughter, so a great granddaughter. So how do you know over there that we're going to go and give it to those grandchildren? So it says the Gemara, Talmud Lomar, Ein lo, ayin alav. Same thing. It's going to apply whether it's you're going through the son, you look all the way down to his grandchildren, great grandchildren, or it goes after the daughter and you look after her children and her great grandchildren also.
That's if there was no son.
If there is no son yet, or if there is no daughter.
Then you go to the daughter.
Yeah, if the son was supposed to inherit, so then and he's not around, you look if he has any sons or grandsons or great grandsons.
Right.
And now if the daughter was supposed to inherit and she's not around, you continue to check after her and see who does she leave behind. Yeah. Okay, turning the page. So ha ketzad. So it's an interesting question. Ha ketzad is usually when there's a contradiction trying to resolve, you say ha ketzad, how is this so? But here the question is, the Rashbam explains that just like we're interpreting ayin alav downwards, meaning you look down and see did you leave anybody. Similarly, hachanami amrinan, here the Rashbam says that you have to look upwards also. So how do you look upwards? Let's say there's nobody down. Let's say they left, the person left no children or grandchildren. But you should be ayin alav upwards, lamala, meaning you should, I'll plug this in. You should look upwards and see, did he leave any parents, grandparents? Did he leave any parents, grandparents, great grandparents? So how does that going to work? Oh, oops. You okay?
I'm good.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So ha ketzad. So how do you go upwards? So meaning how far do you go? You stop at a great grandfather, great grandfather. Says the Gemara, Nachal mimameshes v'holeches ad Reuven. You go up until you trace all the way back until Yaakov's son Reuven. Meaning you are obligated to do whatever you could to trace back. So it's an interesting thing. So it's a long Rashbam here going through all the scenarios, but he says, if there's no father and no brother, and there's no son and no brother, no sisters, no nephews, no nieces, so then you go to the grandfather. And if there's no grandfather, you look into all the grandfather's relatives. And if that generation you find nobody, you go up to the, why is it not charging? You go up to the, it's going over here. Oh, if in the grandfather's line, there's nobody.
Red?
What is that?
No, I just said.
Oh, it's good.
red.
If in the grandfather's line, there's nobody, then you go to the great grandfather and you see the great grandfather have any brothers, any uncles, and you keep going back and you keep going back from each generation. And in each generation, you check all the paternal relatives. And if you can't find anybody, then you have to go back to the previous generation. How far back do you have to go? You have to go back to the tribe of Reuven. Meaning, if this person comes from the tribe of Reuven, you go back to that generation after Yaakov's children. So it says the Gemara, one sec, why'd you stop at Reuven? V'lema ad Yaakov.
Right, that trick now to go back.
That's right. He said maybe you should go back to Yaakov. Don't stop at Reuven. Amar Abaya, we have a tradition. Gemiri, we have a tradition. Delo kala shifta. We have that any tribe, any one of Yaakov's children was never extinguished. It was never, so there's no reason to go back to an earlier generation because once you get up to Yaakov's children, the tradition is that not one of the tribes was ever extinguished. So you're definitely going to find somebody. So there's no need to go back up to Yaakov. Okay. Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Said Rav Huna in the name of Rav. Kol haomer tirash bas im bas haben. So we're going to be a long story about this. We're going to be very, very unhappy with someone who makes the following statement, that a daughter inherits with a granddaughter. So if father died and he had a son and a daughter, the son died first, then the father died. So now his daughter and his son's daughter both want the inheritance. So if anybody says that in that situation they inherit together, afilu, even if he's a nasi shebi Yisrael, a prince of Israel, I mean, even if he's one of the leaders of the Jewish people, ein shomin lo, do not listen to him. Why? She'ein and ella ma'aseh tzedukim. This is all because of the tzedukim. The tzedukim, right? The Sadducees. So they were very in control in the Second Temple period, and they over and over and over again denied different laws of the oral law. So whenever many fights with them and the rabbis, and whenever they, we always try to prove them wrong. So this is what they said. So yeah. It's interesting here that the Rashbam brings the famous story by the Siddusim that it was Tzaduku Baitus. They were the students of Antignos. You go through Pirkei Avos, he's right in the beginning. Antignos, and he would teach his students that which he said in Pirkei Avos, how you should serve Hashem. You shouldn't be like servants that serve Hashem and receive a reward. Rather, you should serve Hashem, even if you won't get a reward. Just serve Hashem out of love. So the students made a mistake and thought that it says you should serve Hashem and you'll never get a reward. All you're trying to say is don't do it for the reward, right? They misunderstood, and they said, "Wow, so just like this rabbi teaching, there's nothing to him. So therefore, all the rabbis, all their oral laws is nothing to that either." And they went off and threw off their, so to speak, their respect for all rabbis and their traditions, and they went off and were called the tzedukim because of tzadak ubaitus that were the students. So I guess listen carefully in class, because So either way, we don't say this. Rather, what do we say? If you have a daughter and a granddaughter, so they don't inherit together, but who gets precedence? One second. So what should work out is that if the son, right, if the son's not alive anymore, so then the granddaughter should really inherit instead of the daughter, right? Because we just said that whoever should have inherited, so then all their offsprings take their place. So the daughter does not inherit with the granddaughter. I believe it should be the granddaughter should get precedence. 1 second. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. The daughter doesn't get it when there's a granddaughter here, because she takes the place of her father, and therefore she's going to receive. Okay. So that was Rav Huna. Once again, Amar Rav Huna Rav Kol Omer Tirish Basim Basa Ben. I feel Nasi should be Israeli and Shomin Lo. The daughter with the granddaughter, even if it's a prince of Israel saying this, don't listen to them. She'ena Ella Ma'aseh Tzedukim. This is all because of the Tzedukim. They established this law, and they were wrong. So now, the Tanya. So we have this Megillah in general, which is it's called Megillah's Tainus, which had a list of days, a list of holidays that we established, minor holidays over the years. Since we lost the Beis HaMikdash, so we no longer celebrate most of these holidays. So, but one of those was the following: the Tanya, our Bava Esrim B'Tevis, on the 24th day of Tevis, was actually a minor holiday, right? When a minor holiday, I think the Gemara says in Shabbos, you don't fast on these days. They established minor holidays. First prohibited to fast, to eulogize. So why was this day? Why was the 24th of Tevis a holiday? Because Tavna le Dinana, because we returned the rule back to its place. So the Tzedukim had this halacha that they tried to make very widespread, that a granddaughter, the daughter of a son, and a daughter will inherit together. Finally, on the 24th of Tevis, that law was put back in its place and no longer in place. So basically, they defeated the Tzedukim, and for that they made a minor festival. Shahayu Tzedukim omrim tirisha basim basaben. The Tzedukim said that the daughter should inherit with the daughter of the son. So now we're gonna have a long story. We'll see if we can finish it today. So Nitpa lahen Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai one time was talking with the Tzedukim, and Amr lahem, he said to them, "Shotim, you fools, minayin zelachem. Where do you know this halacha from? Where did you get this halacha that a daughter and a granddaughter, the daughter of the son, should inherit together?" I said, "What's your source? Bring me a source." So they said, "V'lo haya adam she'exiruhu davar chutz mizakin echad shaya mefatfet kenegdo." There was nobody who could respond to Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai except for this one old man. Interesting description. One old man who was mefatfet kenegdo. We had that same word, and we had that name Putiel. The name Putiel referred to Yosef because he was mefatfet with his Yitzhara. He struggled and followed Yitzhara. Same word. So this old man, he was fighting with Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And he says, "I'll tell you where I get it from. It's a kal v'chomer," which is interesting because the Tzedukim didn't really believe in oral law necessarily, but they're still using different methods that we derive halachos from, in their convoluted way. The Omer, Uma bas bino, just like the daughter of a son, the granddaughter, Haba'a mikoach bino, tirshanu, just like the granddaughter could inherit. So then, bito haba mikocho lo kol shekain, meaning a granddaughter, he's saying she's 2 steps removed. She's only the daughter of the son of the deceased. So if she could inherit, for sure the actual daughter of the deceased should be able to inherit also. Now it's interesting. How do we know that we look into the lineage further? It was a pasuk, ayin alav. The word was written without a yud, and we interpreted orally, right? Torah Shabbat Peh and Torah Shabbat Chsav, and the written Torah, you're not going to find it. But in the oral law, we interpreted that you look into the person who's inheriting, who's going to be inheriting, you look into his lineage. So they obviously denied that. They say you don't do that. You use this logic. If the granddaughter who's only coming from the son of the deceased gets, for sure the son of the deceased should get. That was his kal v'chomer. Yeah. So, okay. So now, kara alav. So I think now it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he says, yeah. Kara alav es hamikra zeh. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai pulled down the following verse. So in Bereshis, it says the following. Eila b'nei Seir hachori Yosha Aretz. Some of the children of Seir, hachori, who dwelled in the land, Yosha Aretz. So who are his children? Lotan, Vishoval, Vitzivon, V'ana. So 4 children: Lotan, Shoval, Tzivon, and Ana. Then it says Uksiv, Ela b'nei Tzivon. So now Tzivon, who we just mentioned, one of the 4 children. Who are Tzivon's children? It says that the children are the Aya, the Ana. So Ana, that name Ana, was just mentioned as one of the 4 children, and then it's taking now Tzivon, who's one of the 4 children. Who did he give birth to? Ana. So the same person that was Tzivon's sister, that was Tzivon's brother, is also Tzivon's son. So how does that work? Tzivon had a brother named Ana, and then the verse says the children of Tzivon are Ana, the Aya of Ana. So how does that work? Ela Melamed, says Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Shebat Tzivon al imo. Tzivon must have had relations with his mother, the Holid Ana, and therefore it's not a contradiction anymore. So Tzivon could have a brother, Ana, because he had relations with his mother, and they gave birth to Ana. Also, Tzivon's son could be Ana. Okay, so yeah. So now what does this teach us? So this teaches us that what? The Rashbam says that grandchildren are like children. The b'nei banim harei hein kebanim. 1 second. Right. So why is he listed as a son of Seir? Really, he's the son of Tzivon. Why did Torah tell us he's also the son of Seir? Just tell us that he's the son of Tzivon. He's listed as the son of Seir to tell you that a grandson will stand in the place of his dead father to inherit his grandfather's estate. So that grandchild is considered like a child. That's how the Torah puts him, even though he's a grandchild. It puts him as it also refers to him as the son. To teach you this, that a son, so just like a son will take precedence over a daughter, so too a son's son will take precedence over a daughter. And similarly, a son's daughter will take precedence over a daughter. Because once you say b'nei banim harei hein kebanim, one's grandchildren are like children, so then they stand in their place. So then you'll know that they take precedence over the daughter. Now, it's interesting, right? Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he couldn't have brought our source for this halacha necessarily, because I think that was the oral law. The Tzadduki is not going to buy into that. So I think, my own opinion, I think he's bringing from the written law that, look, you see, why did Torah do that? It mentioned a grandson as a son. For what reason? So he's pushing him against the wall. Even you have to interpret that written law literally. So it must be like this. So it says the Gemara, but that might not be such a conclusive idea. Why? Because the Dilma Tre Anna Havu. Maybe there were just two Annas. That's all. Just two people have the name Anna.
Oh.
So we say, first we interject and we say, Amar Rabba, Amina Milsa de la Amra Shavar Malka. I'm going to say something which even the Shavar Malka, the certain king named Shavar, didn't say. And who is this person who's referred to as the Shavar Malka? Referred to Shmuel. Shmuel is referred to Shavar Malka. Attention, we mentioned this yesterday, that we always go in the halacha like Shmuel in monetary matters.
Okay.
I guess he was referred to as the king. He was called the king because a certain level of honor that he was the go-to in monetary matters. Okay, so now just still parenthetically a little bit. I'm going to say something which this King Shavar never said, and who's that? Rabbah, and he referred to the King Shavar as Rabbah. Either King Shavar is a Rabbah or referred to as Shmuel. Now, what's the answer? Maybe it's two Annas. Amar Kra, it says who Anna. It says he is Anna, meaning the same Anna that was mentioned earlier. It's the same person. What's who Anna? It's the same Anna. Therefore, it's not two separate Annas. Rather, it's one Anna, and we'll have to continue this saga. Come on.
Eshkar.